Ah yes, another iceberg. I bet that none of you are expecting me to do another one since my last one didn't do as well as I expected, but here we are. For the people that don't know, icebergs are a tier list where you start off by discussing the most common things and then eventually the least common things. This video isn't really going to be that entertaining in terms of visuals, so I suggest that you watch this video while doing homework, taking a walk, or trying to fall asleep to the sound of my crisp audio. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the iceberg. The Smith Santa Christmas Food, For Whom the Sleigh Bell Tolls, is the 8th episode of the 6th season of American Dad. It originally aired on Fox in the United States on December 12, 2010. The episode follows the events caused by Stan as he gives his son Steve a rifle for Christmas, even though Francine forbid him to. When Steve is practicing shooting, he accidentally kills a mall Santa. The family decides to bury the body in the woods, but it turns out it was the real Santa who wants revenge by killing the Smiths. The episode was written by Eric Durbin and directed by Bob Bowen. It was slightly modeled after the film 300 and was first announced at the San Diego Comic-Con International in July 2010. It is the 4th American Dad Christmas special, following the footsteps of The Best Christmas Story Ever Told, The Most Adequate Christmas Ever, and Rapture's Delight. Personally, I remember watching this episode on TV when I was younger, because despite my age, my parents would allow me to watch shows like American Dad and Family Guy. Roger's Life Then. It aired on Fox in the United States on February 20th, 2011. The episode focuses on the show's two main characters, Roger and Stan. After he saves Roger from being run over by a bus, Stan has repaid what Haley calls his life debt, which forces Roger to move out of the household, and Stan replaces him with Andy Dick. Roger intuitively figures out that he can be reaccepted by Stan and move back in by forcing him into a new life debt, getting him attacked by a polar bear at a zoo, and then saving his life at Area 51. Meanwhile, Steve and his friends abuse the power of being public announcers at Pearl Bailey High School. Surrogate. Surrogate is an episode of American Dad. The first time that the episode was aired was on December 2nd, 2007. The plot of the episode revolves around Greg and Terry's announcement that they would like to have a baby through a surrogate mother. Dan is horrified at the thought of them having a child. When Francine hears that they're having trouble deciding on who to surrogate, she volunteers to have a baby with them. Imagining the worst, Francine hides her pregnancy from Stan. When Stan finds out, when Francine's doctor calls, questioned by Haley about the baby's well-being, Stan decides to work with Francine. When the baby is born, Stan kidnaps her and heads to the Nebraska border where gay couples don't have any rights. Roger crash-landed at Area 51. I couldn't really find too much on this one. The only thing I could really find was this Wikipedia article. Having lived on Earth since crashing in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, Roger came to live with the Smiths after rescuing main character Stan Smith at Area 51 4 years prior to the beginning of the series. Ragu is Roger's homunculus. Born from a tumor, he has Roger's ability to disguise himself as anyone he desires. Also has a temperament of a small child. He needs to be watched and cared for like a child despite his alien nature. Ollie North conspiracy is true is the song Stan sang in Stanny Slickers 2. The Legend of Ollie's Gold, about the Iran-Contra affair. The song and animation are patterned after Schoolhouse Rock. And that's the end of Layer 1. So I guess now we're just gonna move on to Layer 2. Francine's real parents. Francine's real parents are clearly not Mama and Baba. I mean, they're Asian. In the episode Big Trouble in Little Langley, Stan sets out to find Francine's birth parents, but finds out that despite being wealthy, they're snobbish and abandoned Francine as a child to get a first-class ticket on an airplane. Stan decides not to reunite Francine with her parents as he feels they are not good people. Stan's dad and his history with Krampus. Krampus is a mythical creature from the elves who punishes children and eats bad children around Christmas, a sort of anti-Santa Claus. In American Dad, Krampus is a character that exists in the universe. Stan's dad explains how as a child, he trapped Krampus in a copper pot when he beat him to his mother's strudel. Stan releases Krampus in the episode Minstrel Krampus when he tries to punish Steve, but he is killed by Santa. As Jack intervened while Santa tried to kill Stan and is shot, his blood mixed with Krampus's, making Jack the new Krampus. That's a lot of fucking Krampuses there. Klaus's boys in Florida are real. Klaus often told stories about having friends in Tampa, but this is scarcely believed by the others, especially Roger. In the episode Lost Boys, Klaus takes the family to Florida to see his friends, proving that they do indeed exist. The 200 is the 200th episode of American Dad. The episode is seemingly non-canon with the family in a post-apocalyptic world, the wasteland of Langley Falls. This episode is actually a parody of the sci-fi show The 100, which follows a similar plotline. Roger's powers. Throughout episodes of the show, Roger has been seen to have powers. Some of his powers include him being fireproof, being able to slow down time, stay alive in space, having the ability to regenerate limbs, living forever, and moving reality. It's never explained how he has these powers. However, it's most likely they were obtained from being an alien. Bullock's wife and kid. Marianne Bullock is Avery Bullock's wife and adoptive mother of Avery Jr. In one little word, her story is expanded upon, as she tries to take Avery Jr. hostage and then just try to take him outright. In the episode, it mentions that she is from the Middle East and is a fanatic who hates America. The Smith mineral rights. In the episode Mind Struggle, Roger discovers the existence of massive salts in the backyard. After it is revealed that Steve owns the rights to the salt, a salt company tries to pressure Steve into signing a contract using various means. The contract is signed eventually, but the salt company finds out that the salt was just a lump, as the whole thing was a scam planned by Roger as revenge against the salt company. Francine's real hair color. It is frequently posed question as to why Steve has brown hair when neither Stan nor Francine do. The reason is that Francine has natural brown hair, but she bleaches it to keep it blonde. This has been shown a few episodes of the show before. Stan's Native American half-brother. Rusty is Stan's half-brother. When he and Stan were young, their dying grandfather had only $20,000 in a plot of land he believed to be worthless. Stan cheated Rusty into getting the money, leaving Rusty with the land, which turned out to have a vast copper reserves, making Rusty rich. In the episode There Will Be Bad Blood, Stan kidnaps Rusty and tries to trick him into giving him the land. However, Rusty's security staff kicks out Stan and his family, threatening to kill them if they return. And now we're on to Lair 3, so I don't know, I have nothing to say here, let's just move on to the next one. King Klaus reality. Klaus Hessler is a major character in American Dad. He is a German Olympic skier brain transplanted into the body of a goldfish with CIA technology, who is now forced to be a pet in the Smith family. I cannot find anything for this one. Every time I looked or searched up, a different term, completely different TV show or movie popped up. What the fuck did I just say?
All those all those
I was gone 60 years. How long was it here? What?
Haley Dream Smasher Smith. In one of the episodes of the series, Francine burst in the door in a rage, calling Haley by her full name, Haley Dream Smasher Smith. Therefore, this would be Haley's full name, as listed on the American Dad Wiki. The Majestic. Majestic is a 2007 song by American rock band Wax Fang. It appears as the first track on the album La La Land. In Lost Space, the song is sung by the Summoner when Jeff Fisher must have his mind probed by the Majestic to prove that he always loved Haley in an effort to win his freedom. The forgotten fifth member of the Sleepover Gang. The person that this entry is referencing is a kid named Ronnie. He was the fifth forgotten member of the Sleepover Gang. When Steve and his friends try to plan a slumber party in a piñata named Desire, they get teased at school. Remembering the good times with a long-lost black friend, they plan on having one last blowout party to end all parties. The B-12 Killer. Not sure what this one was referencing, but this is what I found. Boys 12 is a boy band supergroup put together by Snot's uncle Lou Schneider after he hears Steve and his friends group Boy Bomb sing at Pizza Overlord. Intro sequence speedruns. A popular meme in late 2019 and early 2020 was the American Dad intro speedrun meme, where people would edit the intro to make it seem like a video game speedrun, and later made an entire video analyzing these supposed speedruns playing into the joke. Roger's first time coming to Earth was in 1947 as a result of being tricked, led to believe he was the decider, in whose hands the fate of mankind rested, when in fact he was serving a role for a crash test dummy. The Parrot Pigeon series. Parrot Pigeon is the protagonist of 3012 of Stan's children's books, earning him over 10,000 rejection letters in the process. Parrot Pigeon is notable for dropping his red, white, and blue turds on Justice America's enemies. Jeff's alien biology. Jeff appears to return from space and holy shit, Jeff's back, but he acts strange, causing Haley some doubts. Although his new attitude soon wins over Stan, in reality, he's an alien named Zebliar from a species that collects, and he's come to sample more Earth items, his race having dissected Jeff in order to find out more about him. When Jeff and Haley decide to have a baby between episodes Bama Mama and Roger's Baby, they find out they cannot get pregnant due to Jeff's alien biology. And that's it for Lair 3. So let's just move on to the next one. Mini Quad. Mini Quad is a fictionist adventure drama television series set inside American Dad. It stars John Q. Mind as an ex-army officer who has garnered special powers due to his limbs being blown off. As the show's main protagonist, the show is presented as an adventure drama similar to those seen in the 1970s. Without Roger's personas, the city would break down. Honestly, I think this one is just a theory. For those that don't watch American Dad, basically Roger has a whole bunch of personas that he plays throughout the show. Each episode is a different persona that he plays. Roger created Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is a fictional character from Star Wars films The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and the television series The Clone Wars. His primary role was to provide comedic relief, but many Star Wars fans reacted negatively to his character. I'm not sure if this entry in the iceberg references something that he said in an episode, but yeah. Tuttle's life is a TV show. I'm not sure what the name of this episode is trying to reference, but I found a short clip giving some context.
All those
Stan is bald. Steve learns that he has scoliosis and must wear a back brace for 6 weeks. Stan gives him advice that it's what's on the inside that counts, but Steve is still ridiculed. Arriving home early, Steve discovers that Stan is actually bald. Roger invented disco. In a subplot, Stan buys a Best of Disco cassette for Roger. When he goes back in time to 1970, the tape falls out of his jacket and is found by Roger. Playing it to executives, Roger becomes fabulously wealthy by inventing the disco era. Stan's personal heaven. At the end of Rapture's Delight, when Stan dies and goes to his personal heaven, only to find everything the same. The series presumably resets to the point where before the rapture happened. Jeff's mom left him before he was born. This entry of the iceberg references this clip of an episode, which his name I cannot remember, where Haley mentions to Stan that Jeff hasn't spoken to his dad in years, and his mom also walked out on him before he was born. Barry is an evil genius. Normally, Barry takes drugs that suppress his criminal mind. As a result, he is naive and slow, and struggles making moral decisions. For instance, when he remarks to Steve that he should respect her privacy, when Steve tells him overhearing Francine talking in All About Steve. Barry can sometimes be reasonably nice when he's on his drugs. He takes Stan's insults with rather good humor or completely ignores them. And that's the end for Layer 4, so now we're gonna go on to Layer 5. We're almost done with this iceberg, so I guess that's pretty nice. Snot's dad was a derby racer. When Haley teaches Steve how to drive, Snot discovers his dad was a demolition derby driver. The Illuminati. While researching a paper about George Washington Carver in celebration of Black History Month, Steve discovers a mysterious symbol consisting of peanut in a pyramid. He asks Principal Lewis to extend his work, but as he leaves, the camera zooms in on the same symbol as a tattoo on his left wrist. He calls someone saying, "We've got some chocolate in our peanut butter." Original finale had Stan and Francine die in a hot tub. Margaret and Principal Lewis go to Stan's house, where the hot tub swallows Lewis and causes an escaping Margaret to crash his car, killing him. The hot tub then draws Francine back home, imitating Stan on the phone. Stan discovers the deception and returns home just as the hot tub swallows Francine. After the hot tub explains its first killing spree, Stan unsuccessfully tries to recover Francine. The hot tub jetsons Stan through the roof, leaving him sprawled on the pavement across the street. At the last moment, Stan remembers the spa down given by Margaret for calming down his tub. Unfortunately, he succumbs to his wounds. Silu announces that Stan is dead, ending the episode abruptly. Jeff's real dad is a Navy captain and his mom was a prostitute. I honestly couldn't really find anything for this one, so let's just move on to the next one. Haley's brother Bailey. Bailey is a possible twin brother of Haley and older brother of Steve Smith. He was revealed in White Rice when Francine wanted to get him and Haley vaccinated, but Stan said no. Roger's unrecognizable personas. When you search this up, a Reddit post comes up asking what are some of the unrecognizable personas the family has never recognized him as. And that was a really short layer. Layer 5 wasn't honestly that long, but Layer 6 will be better. At least a tiny bit better. Roger ate his father. Almost nothing is known of Roger's natural family. In joint custody, Roger reveals that his mother suffered from arthritis. He wished his mom could figure out Skype so he could show her his shorts and worse to Stan. In I'm the Walrus, Roger says he ate his own father at 15 and still keeps bits of his leg. Toshi's season 1 mom. Aiko Yoshida is the mother of Toshi and Aiko and the wife of Hideki Yuki Yoshida, as Steve outlines his plot to borrow a camcorder from Toshi in threat levels. An older and heavier Mrs. Yoshida appears as Toshi sneaks it past her. This version appears again in Phantom of the Telethon as an audience member cheers on Tank Bates at FedEx Field in Daddy's Queerest, and appears in Morning Mimosa as a member of the studio audience. She also appears in the hologram version of Morning Mimosa in No Weddings and a Funeral. Francine killed her college roommate. This entry in the iceberg refers to a line that Francine said where she mentioned that she killed her college roommate. I'm not sure what the episode is called, but I'll leave the pictures on screen so you can read it. Alien camouflage skin. I couldn't really find much here about this one, but I think it refers to a part of the episode where Roger steals Jeff's skin because of Roger's obsession with Haley in that episode. Here's the clip.
Skin off. This is the skin for me.
Roger's breasts are full of spiders. This entry in the iceberg refers to an episode where Roger's breasts are full of spiders. The fate of Roger's egg. I'm not sure what this entry refers to, but what I did find was this. He lays an egg inside a host, male or female, through oral contact. The host can pass the egg onto another through the same method. Once again, I'm not really sure what this entry was trying to refer to. That is the only thing I could find on it. And that is it for layer 6. After this, all we have to do is layer 7, and then this iceberg should be done. Deep TV reality. Not sure what this part of the iceberg was trying to reference, but the best assumption I can make was that at the entry is trying to refer to the theories about the show. Season 1 house inconsistencies. This entry of the iceberg refers to inconsistencies in the house from season 1. I'm not sure what inconsistencies the iceberg is trying to reference, but since it's part of the iceberg, I thought that I might as well just briefly go over it. Toshi knows that he's a cartoon. The entry is referring to the episode of the show where Toshi is being self-aware. Screenshots are provided here. And for the last one, Mr. Pibb mind control experiments. This one says not to research, so I'm just not gonna research it. And that's it for the iceberg. I know that a lot of you probably weren't expecting me to do another one since my last one didn't do as well as I expected once again, but here I am doing one. I'd like to thank all of my friends and stuff. I'd like to thank Dr. Skipper because he's funny, I guess. I'd like to thank Michael, the turns. And yeah, follow my Twitter. This has been Alibi, and thanks for watching.
Every single problem in my head goes to waste. But we gotta cover up, girlfriend too shy.